times, by the way, will be posted on the scoreboard in the infield, so if you're writing them down, we will fill you in. 17.34. 17.34 is lap 1 for Marcatone. The Ford of Greensburg, Integra Bank 2 in his second year, and the Gatling's Auto Stores late models. 17.45 is lap 2, 17.45. Taking the green flag from champion last week's feature winner, Dan White in car number 23, another Ford Thunderbird, Dan White. $17.49 is lap 1 for Dan White. $17.33 is the second lap for Dan White. That's now the time to shoot at, 17.33. In car number 19 from Connellsville, sponsored by Power Flow, it's Rick Miller. Rick Miller out of Connellsville, making his first appearance of the season at Motordrome. $17.22 for Rick Miller. That is the quick lap so far, 17.22. $17.32 is the second lap, 17.32 for Rick Miller. On the clock in car number 84 from Barberton, Ohio, the Akron Hydraulic Repair sponsored 84, Dan Villers. It's an Oldsmobile. Dan Villers in car number 84. $17.59 is the first lap. 17.59. $17.43 is the second lap. 17.43 for Dan Villers. Taking the clock in the Budweiser Heritage Harley-Davidson 36 from Bell Vernon, Tom Erickson. Tom Erickson in car 36, another Oldsmobile. $17.52, check that, I'd say it's a Pontiac. 17.52 the first lap for Tom Erickson. $17.34 is the second lap. 17.34 the second lap for Tom Erickson. In the Henry's Motor Sales Hodge Transmissions number 77, another Connellsville driver, Bobby Henry. Bobby Henry in the 77. Lap to beat, still the 17.22 of Rick Miller. $17.43 is the first lap for Bobby Henry. 17.43. $17.36 the second lap for Bobby Henry. 17.36. So all the cars very close, within about 0.3 of one another so far. In the Stoy Sound Auto Records number 75 out of Boswell, Barry Oddie. Barry Oddie in car number 75. 17.49 is lap 1 for Barry Otte. 17.49. .41 is lap 2. 17.41 is the second lap for Barry Otte. In the Ford of Greensburg, Integra Bank sponsored 2J. Davey Johnson out of New Alexandria. If you weren't here earlier, I mentioned Davey is currently the Stars points leader, running on the Stars Dirt Late Model Series. Has run asphalt in the past with the NASCAR Busch Grand National Series. 17.54 the first lap for Davey Johnson. 17.54, the defending Stars national champion in the Ford of Greensburg Integra Bank Thunderbird. .1736 the second lap for Davey Johnson. 17.36 puts him right in the hunt. In the Mopar Performance Dillon Racing 03 from Louisville, Ohio, Lonnie Vaughn. Lonnie Vaughn in car number 03. The lap to beat is still the 17.22 of Rick Miller. .17.46 is the first lap for Lonnie Vaughn. 17.46. .17.51 is lap 2. 17.51. It's kind of been mixed. Some cars have been faster in the first lap, others have been faster in the second lap. There's been no consistency. In the American Title Trust number 32 from Hubbard, Ohio, Glenn Gauld in the Orange Blossom Special. Glenn Gauld in car number 32. .17.15 for Glenn Gauld. That is the fast lap. 17.15. He's had a lot of bad luck here to start the 94 season, trying to turn the corner tonight. 17.11. Lap 2 for Glenn Gauld. 17.11. That'll give them something to shoot at. In the Austin's Bleach, Tom Henry Chevrolet, Purvis Brothers 24 from Mars, Chuck Kennedy. Started the season out with a big win here at MOTORDROME. Chuck Kennedy. He's tied with Mark Catone for the points lead. 17.33 is the first lap for Chuck. 17.33. .21, lap 2, 17.21. That is second in line behind the 17.11 of Glenn Gauld. And Twin County Chevrolet, Casa Fire Equipment, Scanlon Chiropractic, Cooney Brothers, goal number 92, Charge in Charlie Craigett. He holds the track record at 16.83. Leading track and, of course, two-time NASCAR Northeast Region champion out of Hopewell, Charlie Craigett. 17.07. 17.07 for Charging Charlie Craigett. Can he get under 17 flat? .89 second. 16.89, just 6 1/1000ths off the track record. In the Riverside buy-low double-0 from Glenn Campbell, Steve Pellis. Steve Pellis in the double-0. Charging Charlie Craigett, 16.89, 6 1/1000ths off the track record. 17.56, 17.56 the first lap for Steve Pellis. 17:21 is lap 2. 17:21 lap 2 for Steve Pellis. Spinning up there in turn 4. Yellow is out. Tim Ice from Seville, Ohio in the Fast Racing Engine 65, ready to get 17:31 is the first lap for Tim Ice. 17.31. .55 the second lap, 17.55, and spinning again. That's not common. 25.13 the first lap for Mark, 25.13. By the way, the cars that qualify all will still have to run heat races. Heat races will be started and told straight up from their qualifying times. .25.04 the second lap for Mark, a little better. Larry out of shape there for a moment between 3 and 4. .92.94 is the first lap. 22.94. .23.16 the second lap for Larry Winger. Chip Rowan, we need you on the front straightaway. Chip Rowan.
We're here talking to Tim Ice. He said something broke in the rear suspension in the car. That's what caused him to spin twice there. You know, like you said, you don't usually see Tim do that. Charlie Cragen set the fast time here. That's his old car. He went back into that car this week. They're having a little bit of trouble getting the new car set up. They're going to let Kenny drive that new car, and they're hoping that he's going to help them set that car up for the rest of the year. So a little bit of strategy involved there with the Cragen crew. Number 75 street stock of Brian Audi. He has 2 feature wins here already this year. It looked like that Brian blew the engine up, but that's not the case. What happened is the oil line came loose. He did spin in his own oil, didn't hit the well, so they're just going to reattach that, fill it up with some oil, and go from there. He says even if you do win the week before, you do have to start 10th. Just so everybody knows, Danny White, if he qualifies through his heat, will be starting 10th tonight, and it's going to stick that way for the rest of the year. Okay, here we have Duke McLaughlin down here. Duke, first of all, we've seen you out here running the Pro Stocks. First time on an oval track?
Yeah, first time. We generally run the Pro Trans Am series, and we wanted to see if we knew how to go around.
What's the biggest difference so far other than not turning right?
Horsepower and overall top speed.
Do you think you're going to be able to get a handle on this from what you see tonight? I know this is a pretty tough division you're running in.
Yeah, I think so. I was out of traffic for a little bit, and it's a lot of fun.
Tell us how you got in the seat here with Paul Zorzi, Mutual Engine Builders, I do believe you told me.
Yeah, Denny Miller builds my engines for my Trans Am car, and I met Paul a couple of weeks ago and said he was kind of stuck for a driver, and would I mind trying my hand at left-hand turns? And I said, well, sounds a good idea to me.
So you had your first spin around. You can't get on the track without doing that. You initiated now. I know you thought there was a little right hairpin there, but that wasn't the case.
I just wanted to make everybody know I know how to turn right.
Okay, what's the difference in the setups of the car? Obviously, you always want to go right and left. Is there that big of an adjustment in the feel of the car steering-wise?
Well, the biggest difference here is there's no shifting. Once you get out there, you shift. And in Trans Am, we run from speeds from 50 miles an hour to close to 200. And you dive into turns at 175 miles an hour and have to turn 180 degrees left or right. And the setup here is pretty simple. You don't have to shift, and you just go out and go as fast as you can.
You see a lot of guys here. There's a lot of money down here in the pits as you look at some of the trailers and the cars. Compare that to the SCCA series.
The SCCA series is the Pro series. It's big bucks. I mean, the factories are very present with millions of dollars. And what's nice for us, we're a privateer, and we go out and compete with some of the best drivers in the world. So that's a lot of fun. I've been here all day today, and I've had a blast.
I'm sure driving a Beckworth car here with Paul Zuzzi, Beckworth's behind them 100%. You must feel proud to be behind the seat with them.
Yeah, I think I'm in a real good piece here, and I'm sure we can make it go faster than we have.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Duke McLaughlin.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to come out here again. We thank you for the safety that you've put with us over the past week. Please look over us during this event. Keep the drivers and the crew safe and be with us as we go home this evening. All this we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Lap heat race for the Stoney's Light Street Stocks. Ron Breck, our flagman, eyeing the field as they come into turn number 4. And the green is out. The drag race into turn 1. Bill Ashton in the 35, using that full spot to jump into the early lead. And Brian Audie follows him in the 75 up to second, although he still is trailing some smoke. Lost the oil line in fast laps. Paul Middlewicki in the 14 running third. Side-by-side battle for fourth. Looks like the 11 of Nick Duratz has the advantage. Brian Audie trying to take the lead in turn 1, and he's got it. Car number 75, Brian Audie, and Paul Middlewicki in the 14 tries to follow him down the back straightaway. Bill Ashton in the 35 settles into third now, and the 11 of Nick Duratz still fourth. Denny Costco in the 27 running fifth. And it's Dusty Rhodes and Otto Belling. Yellow flag for Jim Petrie up in turn number 3 in the 44 brings out the first caution. Stoney's Light is the official, again, Street Stock Division sponsor here at Motordrome. Turn on a Stoney's Light tonight. The green is back out. Still your leader. Battle now for fourth. Dusty Rhodes in the 23. Starting to apply the pressure to the 11 of Nick Duratz. Rhodes again in the 23, looking to the inside as they enter turn 1. Brian Audie turned that last lap at 20.18 seconds, give you a little indication about 3 seconds slower than what the late models run. 20.18 the previous lap. Halfway this time by, 5 to go. almost the exact same time that time. It was 20.15. 20.15 for Brian Audie. Not slowing down. Notice how that smoke has gone away. Probably when the oil line came off, some smoke came back on the header. That's probably what was burning off, causing the smoke to start this race. 3 laps to go now. It's Audie leading. Paul Milowicki's 14 in second. Bill Ashton in the 35. The 11 of Nick Duratz. And 23 Dusty Rose. All in the same straightaway. Then it's back a ways to Otto Belling in the 63. White flag, final lap. Audie running some quick times, but Paul Milowicki's running just about the same pace. He's staying right with the race leader, Brian Audie. Not losing any ground. Coming off the 4th turn, your Stoney's Light Street Stock Heat Race goes to Brian Audie. Paul Milowicki second. Bill Ashton third. Close race for 4th. The 11 of Nick Duratz edging Dusty Rhodes in the 23 for the 4th position. And we're ready to go with a green this time by. Second heat for the Stoney's Light Street Stocks. Make it a Stoney's Light night. Let's watch them as they exit turn 4. Looks good, and the green is out. A real traffic jam into turn 1. Marty Edwards in the 57 trying to make a big move on the inside. He gets tied up with the number 9 of Barry Gary, who goes spinning, and the yellow is out. Marty Edwards was right on the bumper of Gary coming down the straightaway, then tried to slingshot underneath him going into 1, but there wasn't quite enough room as they got off the 4th turn. They roll, and we're back to green. And Marty Edwards quickly takes the field into turn 1. Nick Rose in the 46 in hot pursuit. Rick Melab in the 37 moving up into 3rd. Here comes the 5 of Carl Trevero. And the 24 of John Rhodes runs 5th, looking to complete our first lap. Marty Edwards, with Nature's 57, shows the way. Good race back in the pack for 6th on the outside. The 15 is Sean Beam. And the 9 car of Barry Gary hooked up in a battle. Beam now looks to the inside of the 24 of John Rhodes and moves into the 5th spot. Barry Gary trying to follow through in the 9, but can't get the pass made. Edwards, your leader. Rose in the 46 second. Right behind them, the 37 of Rick Melab. And the 5 of Carl Trevero. 3 laps down. Marty Edwards keeping about a 3-car length lead. Good battle for second now as Melab into 37 tries to work the inside of Nick Rose's 46. And looking on the outside, here comes the 15 to Sean Beam. Halfway, 5 laps remaining. Beam into 15 now to the inside of Carl Trevero's number 5. Side by side for 2nd and 4th. Rick Melab moves the 37 into 2nd. Sean the Bullet Beam into 15, quickly to 3rd. Rose into 46 now. May end up in 5th as the 5 of Carl Trevero gets underneath him in turn 3. While that's going on, Marty Edwards stretches the lead in car 57. 3 laps from the finish. The 41 car of Randy Pugh going a lap down. Sean Beam in car 15 started way back in the pack, trying to get second. Underneath the 37 of Rick Melap. He's got that Ford working on the low side, 1 lap to go. It's Marty Edwards and now Sean the Bullet Beam by himself in second, Melap third, Trevero in the 5-4th, and Rose in the 46 runs fifth as they head for the checkered flag, the Stoney's Light Street Stocks. Marty Edwards takes the win in our second heat. Sean Beam second, Rick Melap third, the 5 of Carl Trevero fourth, and Nick Rose's 46 completing the top 5. Next up will be the Snyders of Berlin Pro Stocks. Come through 3 and 4 off the 4th turn, and the green is out. Snyders of Berlin Pro Stocks head into turn 1. Look out, McLaughlin pushes high. Coming through on the inside will be Brett Dressler in car 96. McLaughlin in the 8 trying to get the lead back on the outside. He's up high again, this time at turn 4. Dunbar in the 07 quickly to second. Arsenberger in the 26 moving into third. Butch Durkis in the 87 fourth, and now McLaughlin runs fifth in car 8. That's happened, I think, in about each of our first 3 heats tonight. The guy who's been leading has ended up back in about the 5th spot. Brett Dressler looking tough there in the 96, opening up some daylight. Bob Arsenberger, the 26, trying to take second from the 07 of Jeff Dunbar. Butch Durkis also moving through on the inside. He'll come to third. Dunbar in the 07 now 4th. Laughlin in the 8 runs 5th. And it's Marty Panay in car 90. Durkis in the 87 trying to get second. Side by side with the 26 of Bob Arsenberger. And Durkis now makes the pass through 3 and 4. Halfway, 5 laps remaining, 5 to go. Brett Dressler from Confluent in the Rhino Express Rustic Lounge 96-year leader. Butch Durkis is 87 second, 26 Bob Arsenberger third, 07 Jeff Dunbar fourth, and the 8 of Duke McLaughlin in fifth. McLaughlin now seems like he's starting to get the handle of it. He had dropped back a ways in the 8 car, but right back on the tail of 4th place runner Jeff Dunbar. Just as I say that, McLaughlin outways and spinning in turn 4, and the yellow is out. I guess we jinxed him. Duke McLaughlin green, 4 laps remaining. Snyders of Berlin Pro Stock, heat race number 1. Butch Durkis in the 87, not wasting any time, lined up second on that restart. He's got the lead as they head down the back straightaway. Brett Dressler, the 96, second, and he's got his hands full there. Arsenberger, the 26, Dunbar in the 07. Oh, quite a battle here coming down the front straightaway. 3 laps to go, 3 to go. Butch Durkis, the Abriel Auto Parts, R&S used cars, Advanced Automotive Oldsmobile. 2 to go, 8 down, 2 remaining. Dressler still second, Arsenberger third, Dunbar fourth, back to McLaughlin, and then Marty Panay in the 90. White flag waving this time, 1 more lap. Jeff Dunbar in the 07 to the inside of the 26 of Bob Arsenberger. They head off at 2 down the back straightaway, side by side for third, coming to the checkered flag. 86, Butch Jerkers will take the win in the Snyders of Berlin Pro Stock Heat. Dressler second, Arsenberger third, and Dunmeyer fourth. McLaughlin completing the top 5. They come. Jerry Hasse in the 40, Bobby Henry in the 91, bring the field up to speed, and the green is out. The Kessler and the yellow is out. Not a good start, says Ron Breck. We'll try it again. Jerry Hasse in the 40, Bobby Henry in the 91. Off the 4th turn, and the green is out this time. We're go, go, go. Henry quickly takes over the lead. Kokenauer in the 18 moves into second. Haupton the 20 is up to third. Larry Bahana in car 5 moves to 4th. Hasse in the 45th, and it's Will Trout in the 10. And back to Robert Duvall in the 31. Bobby Henry, Chris Kokenauer, Dave Haupton the 20, right with Kokenauer as they race into 3. Bahana in the 5, sitting in the strong 4th spot. Let's put the stopwatch on the Pro Stock, see what kind of lap times they're turning. Henry by 2 car lengths down the back straightaway. 2, 3, and 4 bunched up pretty good. Will Trout in the 10 tried the outside for a moment, decided not to as they exit turn number 4. Bobby Henry that lap at 18.66, so they're just a little more than a second slower than the Gatling's Auto Stores late model. They're closing in on Henry, so he has to go high to miss the 31. And look at Bahana coming through, little sparks flying there, a little contact. But Bahana's no worse for the wear. He's still running 4th. Chris Kokenauer in the 18 starting to pick it up coming off the corners, and he's closing in on race leader Bobby Henry. Dave Haupton in the 20 sits 3rd. Bahana in the 5 4th. Will Trout in the 10 is 5th. Halfway, 5 to go. Henry started pushing a little bit coming off the 2nd turn, and he was able to pick up daylight the last lap coming off of turn 4. Oh, car spinning. Larry Bahana in the 5. It's a turn sideways at turn 4. The yellow is out with 5 laps down. 5 laps down. Gatling's Auto Stores late models are lined up next. Green is back out. Larry Bahana in the 5, charging back into 5th. At the drop of the green, Gary Wiltrout in the 10 looks to the inside of Dave Haupt's 20 as they run through turns 3 and 4. Chuck Kessler's 91 being driven tonight by Bobby Henry, and it's your leader. Started on the pole, hasn't looked back. That race for 3rd, tightening up. Wiltrout alongside of Haupton, turn 4 this time. Wiltrout in the 10, Haupton in the 20. Side by side still as they enter turn 1. Kokenauer in the 18 sits in front of them in 2nd. Wiltrout with the advantage now as they head into turn 3. 2 laps remaining, 2 to go. Wiltrout says the heck with 3rd, let's try to get 2nd, but he can't as Kokenauer shuts the door and Haupton the 20 goes back around him on the outside. 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, you could cover them with a blanket. White flag for race leader Bobby Henry. Wiltrout in the 10 again, coming to the inside as they enter turn 1. Kokenauer pinches him down in the 18, he's running a low line 2. They work around to 31 of Robert Duvall, and Wiltrout has to back out because the low line is being used by Duvall. He backs into 4th. Checkered flag is waving for Bobby Henry. Kokenauer 2nd, Haupt 3rd, Wiltrout 4th, and Larry Bahana in the 5 completing the top 5. Snyders of Berlin Pro Stock Heat races in the book. And next up, the Gatlings, it's not going to be the 2J, it's going to be the number 12 tonight. That is Davey Johnson in the Ford of Greensburg Integra Bank. Number 12, Davey Johnson from New Alexandria. believe this is Davies' first start on the blacktop since maybe 90 or 91. He ran here shortly after he came back up north from the Busch Grand National Tour. A couple of times. Currently leading the Stars point standings, the Stars late models, Dirt Series. And the defending Stars champ giving his hand at the blacktop tonight in the Ford of Greensburg 12. Here comes Cregan and Kennedy bringing the field up to speed off the fourth turn. The Gatling's Auto Stores late models roll into turn one. Quickly down the front straightaway, Charlie Cregan, your leader. Kennedy settles into second. White is third. Miller fourth. And it's Erickson, Johnson, and Villers. Charlie Cregan now starting to stretch that lead in car 92. Kennedy still second, White third, Miller fourth, Erickson fifth, back the ways to Johnson sixth. Charlie Cregan qualified at 16:89. I had him on the clock that lap at 16:98, almost as fast as he qualified. Track probably getting faster now that the sun is down. Tom Erickson in 36, moving up to fourth, dropping Miller the 19 back one to fifth. And Cregan continues to power away in the 92. $17.21 that time for Charlie, 17.21. Erickson in the 36, closing in on Dan White's 23 that time as they went into turn three. Halfway, 5 laps down, 5 down. You notice Erickson when he puts the brakes on. Watch the hubs of the wheel, the rear wheels light up when he puts the brakes on at the end of the straightaway. That's the type of brake that he's running. That's not something wrong. That's the way it's to be. They glow in the dark. Tom Erickson in car 36. Those brakes, rear brakes lighting up at the end of the straightaway. No change in the batting order. Things stay the same. As we complete lap 7 this time, 3 to go. Charlie Cregan, like he's on a rail. Charlie running a higher line than the other guys. He's going into the turn about a groove higher than the rest of the field. White flag this time. One more lap for the Gatling's Auto Stores late models. That lead has grown to more than a half a straightaway. The checkered flag out. Your Gatling's Auto Stores late model winner, heat race number 1, Charlie Cregan. Cregan wins. Kennedy second, White third, Erickson fourth, Miller in the 19 rounding out the top 5, then Johnson in the 2 and Villers in the 84. Nice story, by the way, this week in area auto racing news. Outside, the Stoystown Auto Wreckers 75. Barry Audi out of Boswell. In the Mopar Performance Dillon Racing 03 from Louisville, Ohio, Lonnie Vaughn. In car number 8, the Brookville Wood J. Allen Steele 8 from Punxsutawney, Larry Wingert. And in the 08 from Louisville, Ohio is Mark Pollock. 10 laps for the Gatling's Auto Stores late models. Coming at you off the 4th turn. Green is out. Side by side into one. Nobody's backing down here. Galt with a bit of a bobble with that. Shook Pellis to the outside. Galt's your leader. And here comes Tim Eisen. No, he won't make it. Hold on there, Tim. Galt leading. Pellis second. Ice third. Catone fourth. Audi runs fifth. Henry is sixth. Off of 2, it's still the Orange Blossom Special of Glenn Galt. engulfed by Carling. Pellis second, 65 Ice third, the two of Catone fourth, 75 Audi fifth. Henry in the 77 sixth, and Lonnie Vaughn in the 037 quickly pulling into the pits. Mark Pollock in the 08. Mark Pollock in the 08 into the pits as the lead pack went by. Gaudet had a little bit of bigger lead a couple laps back. The real battle's for second because Tim Ice is all over the back bumper of Steve Pellis. Halfway this time by, we'll have 5 laps down and 5 laps to go. Larry Wingard moving out of the way in car 8 as the fast train moves by on the outside. They sort of spread themselves out a little bit, the front 3, 4 cars. Mariotti 75 and 5th. Close to the two of Mark Catone. Henry right behind Audi, and Lonnie Vaughn in the 03 right with them also. That roar you just heard was the Ken Schrader show car. Laps to go. Glenn Gault still leading. Steve Pellis within a couple of car lengths in the 00. Ice in the 65 third, Catone in the 2 fourth. White flag waving, 1 lap to go. Boy, I tell you, Gault's car really putting a flame out at the end of the straightaways when he backs out of it. That'll keep your foot warm. Coming off a turn 4, checkered flag to Glenn Gault. Steve Pellis second. Tim Ice third. Mark Catone 4, 75. Mariotti fifth, and Bobby Henry in the 77. Mariotti, Bobby Henry, and Lonnie Vaughn complete the field. And that's not the 34, by the way. That's 32. Jim Nicola lined up 4th. Lined up 8th. From Acme in the 90, Dave Dragovich. Out for the first time this year in the 93 from Somerset, the Vince Building North Star Equipment 93 of Dan Campbell. As AC Delco and GM Performance Parts present the NASCAR Winston Racing Series here at Motordrome. Bacalon in the 48 and Gordon in the 30, going at it hard and heavy down the back straightaway. Ron Conway 75 and 3rd. Gordon on the outside with the advantage going into turn 3. But let's see what happens coming off of turn 4. It's Mark Gordon taking the lead. Bacalon in the 48 second. Ron Conway 75 3rd. Gordon just as quickly as he took the lead got high in turn 2, and Bacalon's right there to take the lead back. Coming along for the ride is the 75 of Ron Conway. Kokenauer the 19 4th. Nicola in the 32 running 5th. Dave Brunell trying to find his way up through the field in car 27. He's the 6th. Bacalon goes a little high, and here comes Conway in the 75, and Gordon will try and get back to 2nd in the 30. Turn 2's been the spot, the trouble spot for our leaders in this Pepsi Pure Stock heat. Ron Conway, your leader. Mark Gordon in the 32nd. Bacalon in the 48 3rd. 19 Kokenauer 4th. And Dave Brunell in the 27 moving into 5th. Halfway, 4 laps remaining. Ron Conway, no room for air, that's for sure. Mark Gordon in the 30 breathing down his back. Then Mike Bacalon's 48, trying a little higher line this time, the 19 of Scott Kokenauer. Kokenauer got the momentum build up going into one on the outside, trying to make it work. Doesn't have enough yet to get up alongside the 48 of Mike Bacalon. Dave Brunell is really moving in the 27. He's fifth and trying to close it on that front four. 2 laps to go. 2 remaining. Burnell now just a car length behind the 19 of Scott Kokenauer. '75, Ron Conway, still your leader. White flag is waving. Final lap. Burnell, the 27, underneath 19 Scott Kokenauer. The race for fourth as they roll into turn 3. Coming off the fourth turn, Pepsi Pro Stock Heat Race number 1 goes to Ron Conway. Court second, Backel on third. And a close fourth place finish. See what the scores say. Kokenauer in the 19 getting fourth, and Dave Burnell in car 27 of Pittsburgh. And out for the first time in car 92 is Kevin Schmucker from Latrobe. We'll check on the 08. That's another new car tonight. Told that Kenny Schrader. Off the fourth turn, Green is out. The 22 of Robin Rimmel. Rim riding into the lead. Vince Kiter in the fourth trying to hold on to second. Mike Davis in the 67 alongside in turn 3. Side by side for fourth too. The Pure Stocks really do put on some good side-by-side racing no matter what track you go to. Pure Stocks are very competitive here in Western Pennsylvania. Robin Rimmel has checked out in that 22. Mike Davis in the 67 second. Harry Flower in the 3 has moved up into third. And it's the 4 car, Vince Kiter, the 45 of Don Blank, and J.O. Hay Jr. in the 28. Sounds like the 92 of Kevin Schmucker might not be in the right gear. It ain't going to last real long the way it's going, that's for sure. 3 down. And the black flag, I think, is going to be out this time for Kevin Schmucker. The blue smoke, maybe some moisture being put down on the speedway. And he'll have to head to the pits. Side by side now for second. Harry Flower to 3 to the inside, taking the spot from the 67 of Mike Davis. Past the halfway point. A straightaway lead for Robin Rimmel. Here comes the 45 car of Don Blank to the inside of Mike Davis 67. He'll move into third. 2 laps remaining, 2 to go. J.O. Hay Jr. in the 28, also alongside the 67 of Davis. Oh, Hay with some sparks coming out of the back of the car as they went into turn 1. They have bottomed out a bit. He gets the pass made up to fourth. Davis with a problem in the 67. He's going backwards like someone's got a rope on his bumper. White flag is out. Final lap, Robin Rimmel. The Darrow Enterprises, number 22. And Mike Davis looks like he has lost all power in the 67. So a good run for Davis goes by the wayside as he was up to second early on. Robin Rimmel takes the Pepsi Pure Stock second heat. Harry Flowers second. Don Blank third. J.O. Hay Jr. in the 28 fourth. And the 11 of Mike Manning completes the top 5.
Running, I wish we could have got here with the weather earlier, or we would have start last, but heck, there's only one way to go starting back there.
Well, you do have 50 laps to move up. I'm sure that's less than what you're used to running. We're going to get the street stocks going up here, get you up top here pretty soon to sign some autographs. I know the fans appreciate the effort. The delay had to hurt you a little bit. You just jump out of the car and jump into a race car and run it like it's second nature. I guess for as many laps as you've turned there, that's the way it became.
Well, we just, we wind up about 225 days a year. We're in a race car, a lot of different cars and different tracks. So it doesn't take a whole lot of time to kind of get used to a car, and it always helps, like with a deal like tonight, when you get there and you climb down, and then you got a real good car to drive.
Okay, guys, you guys back there waiting in line. Kenny's going to be up there real soon. We appreciate all the patience from the fans here. Kenny Schroeder.
If you haven't met Kenny, here's a good chance to get a good close-up look at him, and he'll, of course, be willing to sign all those autographs.
You get him. Really, it's Hollis choice. They stick on pretty good.
Hey, tomorrow night, the Jennerstown Speedway hopes to get their 94 season underway. Rained out last week. And here comes that sharp 1994 Ford Mustang 23, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes from Jennerstown. To his outside, also from Jennerstown, John Rhodes, the Rhodes boys, starting side by side in this Stoney's street stock feature. Maybe not, one row back. I missed the 15 car. Hard to miss it. It's a sharp looker from Somerset. In the Baron Trucking 15, Sean the Bullet Bean. In the 63 from Cecil, Otto Billing.
Now, you know I like
Outside of Otto is John Rhodes in the 24. 27, the Beaver Valley Skydivers 27 from Carnegie, Denny Kopko. Looks like they got the engine problems taken care of. Then it's the 67 of John Dotton from Venetia. The 41 of Randy Pugh from Mineral Ridge, Ohio. And the 9 car of Barry Gary. The Stoney's Light Street Stock 20-lap feature event is underway. Marty Edwards on the outside of the 58 car, spinning right off the bat. The 11 car of Nick Duratz gets sideways and boo-boo. He collects a couple of them up there in turn number 2. Looks like John Gary in the 24. Barry Gary stopped the inside of the back straightaway in the 9. There's another red car involved. It's the 63 of Otto Belling from Cecil. Nick Duratz got sideways in the 11. Collecting him was the 24 John Rhodes, and then came the 63 of Otto Belling. So we will have a complete report from the scene momentarily. Race fan. He's so excited tonight that he even kept his hat on. Glad to see you, Bill. You can hear Bill mornings on Y108 giving the sports.
Time Gary. Tracks chunk out. It's rough. It's dusty. Just wanted to know the places.
And here we go. Stoney's Light Street Stocks coming at you off the 4th turn. Green is out. Into turn 1. The last time it was Marty Edwards that got the advantage on the outside of the 57. Same story. Rick Milab at the 37 second. Paul Milowicki in the 14. And Nick Rosen to 46. Dueling for that 3rd spot. And they're still wheel to wheel. The Nature's 57 of Marty Edwards showing the way. Rick Milab at the 37 second. Milowicki in the 14, now edging into the 3rd. Rosa backs out for a moment, and here comes Brian Audie to 75 to his inside. Good battle in the middle of the pack. Marty Edwards opening up about a 7-car length advantage. Rick Milab in the 37 second. Paul Milewicki in the 14 is third, and trying the outside of Milab coming off of turn 4. Rose in the 46 fourth, and on the move, John the Bullet Beam in car 15. He did a good job in the heat race coming from the back of the pack to second. He's now up to fourth in car 15. And following him on the outside is 75 of Brian Audie. All trying to track down car 57, Marty Edwards. Sean the Bullet Beam with a head of steam off of 2 in the 15. Inside of Paul Milewicki's 14. Plenty of room. And he's got third as he comes off of turn number 4. 5 laps down, 15 remaining. 5 down, 15 to go. Milewicki now 4th. Audie in the 75 still 5th. Carl Trevero in the 5 has moved into 6th. Rose in the 46 back to 7th. Then back away to the 27 of Denny Kopko and the 35 of Bill Ashton. And Marty Edwards' lead is starting to shrink. Rick Milab in the 37 closing in, and right behind him comes Sean the Bullet Beam. The 41 car of Randy Pugh goes a lap down. Edwards lead now just a car length. John the Bullet Beam is on the bumper. The 15 of Beam on the bumper of Milab's 37. Milewicki in the 14 still 4th. Brian Audie 75 5th. Carl Trevero in the 5, and Nick Rose in the 46, all running with the lead pack. Halfway, 10 laps to go. The Stoney's Light Street Car. Marty Edwards a little bobble, and he gets high coming off of turn 4. Here comes Milab at the 37. Not this time. Marty Edwards fighting to handle it too, and this time he'll lose the lead. Milab at the 37 goes by, and so does Sean the Bullet Beam at the 15, and Paul Milewicki at the 14 also trying to sneak in there. A little bit of a contact. That Edwards gets down in time to hold on to third. Rick Milab in car 37. Pressured by the 15 of Sean the Bullet Beam. Seven laps to go. Edwards in the 57 still third. Milewicki's 14 fourth. Audie in the 75 fifth. Here comes Beam with a head of steam on the outside. Into turn 3. Milab in the 37 trying to hold off that Ford. The 15 of Sean Beam. Beam really with some straightaway speed. And if Milab's not careful, he could get pinned here behind the 41 of Randy Pugh. They'll both get by, but Sean the Bullet Beam will take the lead into turn 3. And we've got cars splitting. 57 Marty Edwards and 14 Paul Milewicki got turned sideways, and then there was nowhere to go for Brian Audie in the 75 and Carl Trevero in the 5. They were coming upon the 41 car of the 11 car of Nick Durant, who was in that first lap crash trying to return here. We're back to green with 6 laps to go. Nick Durant with that little side missing on the left side, and as we get back to green, Sean the Bullet Beam gets right back in front just to prove it was no fluke the last time, and Nick Rose in the 46 comes to second. So the caution did not help Rick Milab for long. He's back to third in car 37. The Barron Trucking 15 of Sean the Bullet Beam. He is your leader. Out of Somerset, the West Woolman Distributing Budweiser 46 of Nick Rosa running second. Rick Melab into 37th third. Then it's Denny Kopko's 27 and Bill Ashton into 35. 3 laps to go this time by. 3 laps to go. Oh, up against the wall, turn 4. Car 67, John Dutton, and he's doing all kind of turns and bounces here on the front straightaway to bring out the yellow again. He was way up against the wall in turn 4, came down off, and then came back up and hit it again, spinning around. Rick Melab in the 37th third, Denny Kopko in the 27th fourth, and Bill Ashton's 35 fifth. Green is back out, 3 laps to the finish. Nick Rosa was really quick on the restarts, and he was real quick at the beginning of the race of that 46, and it seems the car starts to go away after he runs a couple of laps, but he could be a factor here. He's closed up on the bumper of Beam coming off of turn 4, 2 to go. Once those tires cool down, Nick Rosa's 46 running right with Beam, but Beam seems to have more in the straightaways than anyone. Brian Audie in the 75 just coasting along the inside of the racetrack trying to stay out of everyone's way. The white flag is out. Final lap. The Barron Trucking 15. Look out. Rick Melab at a 37 loose off the second turn, still third, but drops back a ways. The Barron Trucking 15 is Sean the Bullet Beam. Takes the Stony Street Stock feature win. Nick Rosa second. In the 37, Rick Melab will take 4th. Denny Kopko in the 27 fourth. And Bill Ashton's 35 completing the top 5.
By yourself? Yeah. Over here? All you good there?
Here with Bullet Beam. Time we got to pull him to restart. Tires cooled down, kept the heat.
Don't run with a lot of heat in the tires. We get loose. That's why when I caught them, I couldn't go around the bottom.
Each other, nice rival.
He's been all year.
.722's Austin Clean's package, courtesy of Austin and Beam Motorsports. 756, 809, 872, medium cheese pizza and a Bigfoot pizza, courtesy of Pizza Hut. 916, 943, blaster pack of Snyder's of Berlin chips. 982 and 991 is a Motordrome license plate, and you can pick them up at the main concession stand. Once again on the track we have the number 52 show car, AC Delco GM Quality Parts show car, Kenny Schrader. The 94 SS Impala, which should be in your dealers soon. And a 94 Corvette. They're going to do 3 laps. They're going to pull it in. The show car will go back up. It'll be on display back up there. We're going to go head off for the Snyder Berlin Pro Stock feature.
Stocks. Off the 4th turn, and the green is out. Snyder Berlin Pro Stocks into turn 1. Butch Durkis in the 87 grabs the early lead. Brett Tressler in the 96. Second, the 20 of Dave Haupt third as they sort themselves out. Side by side in the middle of that pack. Gary Wilkes riding the 10 and Chris Kokenauer in the 18, running 4th and 5th. Still good race for second. Tressler the 96, Haupt to the 20. Anything gives as they head into turn 3. Butch Durkis continues to lead in car 87. Side by side for second. Tressler in the 96 and Haupt in the 20. Haupt with the advantage in turn 2, and he'll make the pass. Dave Haupt in car 20 into second. Tressler's 96 third. Wiltrout in the 10 fourth. Then a 26 of Bob Arsenberger moves into the top 5. The Abriel Auto Parts R&S Used Cars Advantaged Automotive 87 of Butch Durkis continues to lead. Tressler, the 96, coming off of turn 4, trying to get back underneath the 20 of Dave Haupt. And again, coming off of 2, Brett Tressler, the 96, not going to give up on that second position. Out to the 20, continues to run the outside. Opening up the inside lane, and Brett Tressler draws alongside another time. Gary Wiltrout in the 10, Bob Arsenberger in the 26, and Jeff Dunmeyer in the 07 about to join the battle. 7 laps down. Brett Tressler, Haupt in the 20, almost brushed the wall off the second turn. Tressler in the 26, back into second if he can hold on here. He's got the pass made. Robert Duvall, the 31, goes another lap down in car number 31, lap 8. Bob Arsenberger, the 26, now starting to move through on the bottom side. Underneath the 10 of Wiltrout, and soon to get under the 20 of Dave Haupt. Jeff Dunmeyer's 07 tries to follow him through. Out to the 20, now trying to get down to shut the door, but the car pushing high through the corner. And Dunmeyer, the 07, about to take over fourth. Yellow flag is out. We got a car splitting in turn number 2. Chris Kokenauer in the 18-6, lost second, but able to gain it back. And Bob Arsenberger is on the move in the 26 up to third. Dave Haupt in the 20, who was second, now fourth. He was fading there before the caution. Let's see what happens as the green is back out. Butch Durkis continues to lead. Arsenberger has taken over second in the 26. Tressler in the 96 third, and Jeff Dunmeyer up to fourth in the 07 as Haupt continues to fade in the 20. Gary Wiltrout in the 10, moving into the top 5. And right behind him, Chuck Kessler in the 91. Now remember, Kessler started last in car 91. He's up into the 6th spot. And Bob Arsenberger is starting to turn up the heat on Butch Durkis for the lead. Arsenberger to the outside in turn 1. No doing it that time. Still Butch Durkis in the 87. 26, Bob Arsenberger. Brett Tressler's 96, the 07 of Jeff Dunmeyer 4th, and Gary Wiltrout in the 10, and Chuck Kessler in the 91. Those front six cars, Bunch Kessler in the 91 moves to fifth. Chucky Kessler starting to move quickly. This will be the halfway point. 13 laps down this time by. And here comes Arsenberger to the inside in car 26 with a burst of speed. Into one, way down low. Left tires brushing the dust on the inside of the racetrack. Still Butch Durkis in car 87. Arsenberger works on that car, spinning. Tressler in the 96, Dunbar in the 07, and everybody else got by miraculously. Dave Houpt in the 20 by inches, getting by the 96 and flag. Bob Arsenberger was quick on that last restart, able to pick up a spot. Here we go, back to green. Arsenberger dives to the inside. Durkis touched the door. Woods Durkis in car 87 has his hands full now. He's being double teamed. The 26 of Bob Arsenberger, the 91 of Chuck Kessler. Arsenberger goes to the outside as Durkis went low, side by side in 1 and 2. Durkis still has the advantage. Let's watch him down the back straightaway. Kessler in the 91, trying to stick his nose into the fray. Still Butch Durkis in car 87 with Bob Arsenberger at 26. Up a little high that time off of turn 4, running second. Kessler in the 91 third, Will Trout in the 10 is fourth. Houpt in the 25th, and he's closely followed by the 5 of Larry Bahana. We've only got 9.5 laps remaining. Setting up as a barn burner. And now Arsenberger tries to get back down in the groove, noticing that Kessler was trying to get underneath him in the 91. And that race for second has opened up some daylight for Butch Durkis in car 87. Kessler makes another run at Bob Arsenberger. The battle for second in turn 3, bumper to bumper. Arsenberger getting up a little high, coming off the corner, and here comes Kessler to the inside. Going into 1. Chuck Kessler in car 91 alongside of Bob Arsenberger. He has the advantage now down the back straightaway. Arsenberger goes in hard on the outside in the 26. 6 laps to go, Kessler to second. The Midway Parts and Service Kessler Lumber 91 into the runner-up spot after starting back in the last row of this feature event. 5 laps to go this time by. 5 laps to go. Butch Durkis out in front of car 87. Arsenberger, the 26, not going to let Kessler get away free. He's staying right with him. Gary Wiltrout is still fourth in the 10, and Houpt in the 20 running fifth. Remaining. Butch Durkis able to maintain that lead. In fact, maybe adding to it here in the closing lap. Chuck Kessler's 91 still second. 26 cars spinning. The 5 of Larry Bahana. So it's not over yet. Larry Bahana in the 5 spinning, and then late Brett Tressler spins in the 96 between 3 and 4. Chris Coconau in the 18. Marty Panay in the 90. The 40 of Jerry Hassey. Larry Bahana in the 5. Brett Tressler 96. And Robert Duvall in the 31. Green is back out. They're grabbing ears down the front straightaway. Durkis leads off at 2. Kessler right with him. Kessler goes to the outside for a moment. In turn 3, here comes Arsenberger underneath Kessler for second. He left the barn door open. 2 laps to go. Kessler went to the outside, and Arsenberger takes over the second spot. Back in the pack a little further, Jeff Dunbar in the 07, ready to move into the top 5. 1 lap to go. turn 2, there's contact. Kessler goes to the outside of the 91. We're coming for the checkered flag in the Snyder Berlin Pro Stock feature. Well-deserved win for Butch Durkis. Kessler will get second. Arzenberger third. Will Trout fourth, and Dunmeyer completing the top 5. Great racing action in the Snyder Berlin.
Come on now, Kurt.
You had me worried about
Yeah, yeah, you shaking me up.
Stay in there.
We needed this one. All right.
Okay, race fans, we're down here with Butchie Durkis. Butch, first win. I know it's got to feel great, buddy.
Oh, it feels fantastic. We've been waiting for this one, and I tell you, it feels great.
Last week you were running really well up front, and then your car seemed to get loose on you, or developed something really went wrong, and Jeff Dunmeyer caught you there at the end. You led about 20 laps. What was running through your mind with about 20 laps to go this time?
Oh, we had a little lead going there, and then I hated to see that last caution come out because I knew I was running pretty good, and I just wanted to keep the car down low. We started getting loose on the end, and we just drove it to the win there.
Yeah, lap 22, the caution come out, gave you 3 laps, and you had Bob Arzenberger and Chucky Kessler behind you, 2 of the toughest guys around, and I knew they wanted that win, but you held them off. It was a heck of a job. What was running through your mind at that point?
Well, I knew I had to just keep them behind me. I felt them bumping on me a little bit in the back, but I didn't let it shake me up. I just kept driving my line and held my spot, and man, this feels good.
Let's talk about your sponsors and pit crew, buddy.
Well, my sponsors, I got Abrioli Auto Parts, R&S Used Cars. Mainly I want to thank my wife. She hangs in with this deal. It takes so much out of us just to come here every week and do this. You just got to give up a whole lot to do this. My parents, they helped me a whole lot in this deal. It just is great.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, four different winners in the Snyder Berlin Pro Stocks this year. Another new winner, Butch Durkis.
Start in front of the 08 and the 8. In the 25 tonight, Kenny Schrader. I tell you, if he can win this one, he'll have to work for it, that's for sure. I'm sure everybody will be looking to see who's leading, but I know a lot of eyes will be focused back in the pack to see if Mr. Schrader can move that 25 car toward the front. All right, the Ford of Greensburg Motordrome Speedway Mustang will be making its way off the racetrack, and will be going green the next time by for the Gatli's Auto Store's late model 50-lap main event on AC Delco GM Performance Parts Night. Charlie Cragen and Mark Cachone bring the field around Ron Brett's green flag. Everyone please stay back away from the fence. Off the 4th turn, the green is out. And they roll into turn 1. Charlie Cragen off of turn 2 with the advantage. Cachone battles back on the outside. Car sideways. Dan White, look out. Bobby Henry flipping over in car 77. Into turn number 3. And back on all 4 wheels. Dan White in car 23 getting sideways, and Henry goes up over the front of that car, flipped a couple of times, rode on the roof, came back down all 4 wheels, and stops in turn 3. The yellow is into turn number 3. And back on all 4 wheels. Dan White in car 23 getting sideways, and Henry goes up over the front of that car, flipped a couple of times, rode on the roof, came back down all 4 wheels, and stops in turn 3. The yellow is out. Dan White driving his car into the pits. And that's why we say, please stay back away from the fence at all times, because you never know. Shaken, but appears to be all right. Reagan in the 92. And Mark Catone in car number 2. Bringing the field up to speed as they exit turn number 4. And the green is out. And it's Mark Catone taking the lead heading into turn 1. Cregan second. Erickson up to third. Tim Eisen to 65, pressuring Rick Miller for 4th here in the first lap. Mark Catone still your leader, Cregan second, Erickson third, Miller 4th, and Ice runs 5th, and it's Galt, Audi, Kennedy. Cregan to the inside, off at 2 down the back chute, alongside of Catone. Second. Tom Erickson third, and Rick Miller the 19 trying to hold off Tim Ice for 4th. Ice in the 65. Miller the 19, wheel to wheel. Right behind them comes Glenn Galt. Lonnie Vaughn back in the middle of the pack in the 03 trying to work the outside groove. Yellow flag out, car up against the wall in turn 3. It's Larry Wingard in car number 8. Larry Wingard in car number 8. All right, back underway. The green is out. And once again, Tim Ice and Rick Miller will for the 4th position. Ice in the 65 will make the pass down the back straightaway. Glenn Galt in the 32 tries to follow him through on the inside. Five the laps down. Charlie Cregan stretching the lead. Foul, the front 7 cars, side-by-side battle for 8th. Chuck Kennedy in the 24 and Lonnie Vaughn in the 03. Ice and Erickson, a little contact for 3rd. Ice able to make the pass in the 65. Tim Ice up to 3rd in car 65. Mark Catone is slowing down. Catone is off the pace in car 2, and Davey Johnson pitting in car 12. The Ford of Greensburg cars with problems. And you can hear the motor going sour in car 2. Mark Catone, the motor going sour in car 2, and he'll retire to the pits. 10 laps are down. 10 laps are down. Catone trying to get that car to the pit area. Won't be able to do so. Looks like he'll stop in turn 3 to bring out the caution. Caution out. Number 2, Mark Catone. And at the same time, the 12 of Davey Johnson retiring from this race as well. The Port of Greensburg Integra Bank crew, Charlie Cregan brings the field back to speed with 40 laps remaining. Ice now second. Galt third. Erickson is back to fourth in car 36. Behind him, Tim Ice in the 65 and Glenn Galt in the 32. Then it's back about 8 car lengths to the 36 of Tom Erickson. Rick Miller in the 19 and Barry Audi in the 75. Wheel to wheel for the 5th position. Audi has the advantage there, but Miller battles back on the outside going into turn 3. Still Charlie Cregan, Tim Ice and Glenn Galt. Second and third, Erickson in the 36, fourth, and now Audi has that 5th spot by himself in car 75. The Mopar man, Lonnie Vaughn, starting to move into contention in the 03. Glenn Galt glued to the back bumper of Tim Ice. Galt to the inside, down the back straightaway, car 32, and he'll take over that 2nd spot into turn 3. Ice may have a problem. He's 15 laps down. Glenn Galt now takes up the chase of Charlie Cregan, whose lead is a half a straightaway. Erickson in car 36 now, really applying the pressure to Tim Ice in the 65. And Ice with a problem here in the front straightaway, spinning into the inside guardrail. Tim said earlier tonight that something broke on the car when he was qualifying and he was having handling problems. In the last couple of laps, he seemed to be having problems again. And you can see the rear axle bent, car wobbling. Tom Erickson and Ice making a little bit of contact there on the front chute. Green wave. Look at Lonnie Vaughn in the 03. Comes charging through. Vaughn in that Mopar performance. Dillon Racing 03. Into the 4th position. Cregan leading, Galt second. Barry Audi now third. A lot of sparks coming out from underneath the 03 of Lonnie Vaughn, and it seems like it's happening the whole way around the racetrack. Rick Miller in the 19. Vaughn may be having a problem. He's been black flag. You can see there's a lot of sparks, and that's not from the frame bottoming out. It's coming from the right rear wheel. And that car is definitely getting away from him through the corners. It's really laying over on the right side now, 19 laps down. He's being black flag, but he's still on the speedway. Cregan leads in the meantime. Galt second, Audi third, Miller fourth. 20 laps down this time by. 20 laps down, and 30 to go. Whatever the problem is for Lonnie Vaughn, it hasn't slowed him down much. He's still that car in the 5th position. the 75 of Barriotti, the 19 of Rick Miller. And Chuck Kennedy, the 24, pressuring Lonnie Vaughn at the halfway point. 25 laps to go. 25 remaining. Tom Erickson in the 36 looked like he's slowing down. Ken Schrader gets by him in the 25. Erickson is off the pace in car 36. Black flag continues to wave for Lonnie Vaughn. The sparks are getting worse. On the Speedway is Chuck Kennedy, the 24, the 00, Steve Pellis. Pellis continues to try and work the outside. They get around Kennedy, but coming off the corner, not enough racetrack. Pellis again to the outside. Charlie Craigan's lead has grown to almost a full straightaway. Now Rick Miller, the 19 car, is starting to gather up the 75 of Barry Otter, running for third. Ellis now underneath the 03 of Lonnie Vaughn. Pellis into the top 5 in car 00. Laps from the finish. 15 laps to go. Definite bumps as sparks continue, and that car weebles and wobbles through the corners. Steve Pellis is really starting to fly in the 00. It wasn't long ago that he was in the top 5. He's close now to the 4th place car of Rick Miller. 12 laps to go. Ellis looks to the inside of Rick Miller in turn 3. 10 laps remaining, 10 to go. Pellis is fourth, and now trying to get third for Barriotti in the 75. A couple of car lengths behind him, and he's gathering him in down the back straightaway. To go. Charlie Gregan, and then it's Glenn Galt. The race is for third. Steve Pellis in the 00 to the inside of Barriotti. Pellis makes the pass. Dropping Otti to 75 to fourth. Rick Miller, the 19, is still fifth. And it's Chuck Kennedy, Lonnie Vaughn, and Kenny Schrader. More laps. Of Larry Winger to put him another lap down. Fastest car on the speedway right now is probably the 00 of Steve Pellis. He continues. He got hooked up a little late, had a hard time getting by Chuck Kennedy and Lonnie Vaughn. Once he did, he definitely set sail. It'll be too late. The white flag is out. Final lap. The Gatling's Auto Stores late model 50 lapper. The Cooney Brothers Coal. Scanlon Chiropractic. Gaza Fire Equipment. 42 of Charlie Gregan out of Hopewell. Here he comes off of turn number 4. His second win in 94 is Charlie Gregan. And the Gatling's Auto Stores late models. Glenn Galt comes home second. Steve Pellis third, Barriotti fourth, and Rick Miller completing your top five. Took the lead on lap number 3 and was never headed to...
Okay, we're down here with Charlie Craig. And Charlie, last week your car just wasn't set up. You weren't happy with it. Went back to the old car. So I know how to run this car. You're kind of fond of this car. Here you have a name for this car.
Yeah, I like it pretty well. I guess a little Betsy car, but it works pretty good. We just wasn't hooked up very good last week, but the crew really worked this week and got me good setup here, and I owe it all to them.
For some of the fans that don't know, what is the difference between like a newer car that you have and this car here that's a year old, other than you know how this car performs? Are you still trying to sort the bugs out of the new car?
Yeah, there's just a little bit of difference in the steering geometry, neural center in the front, but we haven't quite figured that out yet, what to do with that.
You going to keep running this car and let Jeff try to figure that out, or are you going to do it yourself?
We're going to work with it a little bit. I don't know if we run it all the time, but probably run this one for a while, maybe. We'll see this week. I've got some ideas for that other one, too.
Okay, Charlie, let's talk about your sponsors and crew.
Gaza Fire Equipment and Scanlon Clinic. Brad and Roger is the owners, and got the crew, Jim and Rick and Benny and Willie and Walt, Jason, Fred, and real fine crew. They put this car up here. You know, they work real hard at it, and I want to thank the fans too.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, charging Charlie Cragen. Good job. Raider. Kenny, this is about your 4th trip here to Motordrome. Well, how do you like the track?
I really like track. I think I keep doing worse every year, though. I don't know what's wrong there, but I want to thank the guys for letting me drive the car. We just got here too late to give them a good shot with it, you know, to get any practice time and stuff.
You know, Kenny, when you're at Winston Cup, that's a full-time job. And can you explain to the fans a typical week in the life of Kenny Schrader?
It just kind of depends what, you know, this is a week off here. So we tested one day at Charlotte during the week and went to New Hampshire Thursday afternoon, run over there today, qualified, come back here, run tonight, go over there and run tomorrow. We're going to go home tomorrow night and jack around there most Sunday, and then Sunday night going to fly over to Findlay, Ohio and run a little dirt race there with the IMC modified, and then test again at Charlotte Monday and go out to Sears Point Tuesday and start running out there on Thursday.
Okay, Kenny, somebody pointed out to me today, Dick Curry, that your car is leading the ARCA points as of right now with Jimmy Horton behind the wheel.
Yeah, it is. In fact, there's an ARCA race tonight in Pensacola, Florida. When we landed, I called down there and Jimmy qualified 13th, so we're going to get on the phone here in a little bit and see what he did tonight.
What made you get involved with owning an ARCA car? Is it something you just wanted to give somebody you thought deserved a chance?
Well, I think I was brain dead one night and decided to buy a car and run some ARCA races, but we don't know for sure if we're going to run the full series or not yet. We're just kind of running it, all of them right now, one race at a time.
You're currently 4th in the Winston Cup point standings, and you appear to be doing it the way you win championships, just by staying in the top 10. I think you're 2nd at Dale Earnhardt as far as top 10 finishes with 6. Is that the plan? I know you like to win, but if you can't win, you want to definitely stay in that top 10?
Well, you most definitely want to. I mean, you want to win every night. It just doesn't always work out that way. But bringing this thing home in one piece somewhere in the top 10 is what will put you in a good finish at the end of the year. Might not win you a championship, but it'll put you right up there.
Okay, Kenny, before we let you go, I want to know that the owners here at Motordrome is trying to get somebody to fly up here with. A friend of yours, Jimmy Spencer, but unfortunately his seat on the plane got bumped.
Yeah, we didn't have room for Jimmy. You know, he's no little lightweight guy, and we just didn't have room for him.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Kenny Schrader.
Yeah.
Thanks, buddy.
Outside the next row in the Sigmund Auto Salvage 95 from Somerset, Lisa Jones. Then it's back to Dan Schlesinger from Monroeville in the 63. The 51 of Bob Mosteller from Somerset. Dave Dragovich, the 90 from Acme. The 07 of Steve Martinsek of Pittsburgh. The 4 of Vince Kiner of New Salem. The 29 of Jim McGonigal of Pittsburgh. And the 92 of Kevin Schmucker from Latrobe. The Pepsi Pure Stocks are underway. Hey, let's try 3 wide in turn 1. Mike Bacalon's running that dirt asphalt group. 2 tires on the dirt, 2 on the blacktop. Well, he runs both, so he's probably pretty accustomed to that. Into 3. Coconut with 19 steers out of a spin. He kept her going. Robin Ribble, your leader. Ribble in the 22 shows the way. Ron Conway in the 75 second. Mike Manning in the 11. And Dave Burnell in the 27 racing hard for 3rd. Dale Hay Jr. in the 28, 5th here in the early going. Still Robin Rimmel. Burnell in the 27, trying to move to 3rd. On the high road. Mike Manning in the 11 and Burnell in the 27. Wheel to wheel for that 3rd spot. And Harry Flowers in the 3, challenging on the outside of Dale Hay Jr. for 5th. Your front 2 cars are single file, but after that, they're double up. Robin Ribble opening up some daylight in the 22. Ron Conway, 75, Phil 2nd. Burnell in the 27. And the 11 of Mike Manning running 3rd. Harry Flower by himself now in 5th in the 3, and he's moving quickly. Harry Flower on the outside of number 3. And then we've got a real dog fight for positions 7 through 12. 5 laps down, 10 to go. As we said earlier, the Pure Stock divisions, yellow flag out here on the front straightaway. Steve Martinsek of Pittsburgh with a front row seat. 74, Rich Nicola. Green is out. 10 laps to go. Check, that's 32 of Jim Nicola running 10. Back to green. Mike Manning in the 11 is going backwards. Harry Flower in the 3 moves to 4th, and J.O. Hay Jr. in the 28 now into the top 5. We've got a 3-car freight train for the lead. Coming down the front end, the yellow is out. In turn 2, we've got a spin. Dave Schlesinger. All right, 5 down, 10 remaining. Coming back to green. Robin Rimmel has been your leader from the start in car 22. The 75 of Ron Conway in second, and the 27 of Dave Brunell third. J.O. Hay Jr., lots of blue smoke coming from the back of the 28. Harry Flowers in the 3. And the 11 of Mike Manning battling for 4th, and while that's going on out in front, we got a new leader, Ron Conway in the 75. Dave Brunell in the 27 now, trying to get second from Rimmel, who's going backwards. J.O. Hay Jr. off the pace. Problems in the 28 with that smoke trailing. And Brunell on the second. 8 laps from the finish. Mike Manning 4th. Scott Kokenauer in the 19 running 5th. Kokenauer alongside of Manning, and he'll take the 4th position going into turn 3. Brunell starting to apply a little more pressure to the 75 of Ron Conway at the halfway point. 7 to go. Brunell looks to the outside in turn 1. Right behind him is Robin Rimmel. Brunell can't leave that bottom door open. Rimmel's going to come by. Here he comes on the inside. Kokenauer 4th and Flower 5th, side by side for 2nd. Robin Rimmel in the 22 back to 2nd, and the yellow is out another time. And again, that's our buddy Dave Schlesinger in the 63 in turn 2. Laps to the finish. We get back to green. Schlesinger getting pushed off here in turn 2, trying to get the car refired. Pepsi-Cola, Pro Stocks, Pure Stocks. And so are we as the green flag ready to drop with Ron Conway, your leader, and that caution, a break for Dave Brunell, who had lost the 2nd spot. Now he has it back. Robin Rimmel 3rd in the 22. Will have to work hard to try and move back toward the front. And the man on the charge right now is Scott Kokenauer in the 19. Harry Flowers in the 3-5. Mark Cord in the 30. Coming up into the 6th position, Mike Manning in the 11-7th. Ron Conway still leading with 9 down. Brunell on the 27th, trying to protect that inside. That's where Robin Rimmel got behind the last time. We'll have 5 laps to go when they come by. 5 more laps. Well, Brunell's going to look to the outside in turn 1. He's alongside of Conway's right rear quarter panel. He's not careful here. Here comes Robin Rimmel, the 22. Could be a repeat of earlier. Brunell goes in hard on the top. Trying to hang on to that 2nd spot right now. He and Rimmel side by side, and Rimmel makes the pass with 4 to go. Brunell going for the win. Ends up 3rd right now. See if he can get that spot back. Kokenauer the 19 4th. Flowers in the 3 is 5th. Then it's Bacalon, Corden, Nicola, Blank, Campbell, Manning, and Dragovich. Good battle here. Everybody running with the lead group. Now, Robin Rimmel trying to get a piece of the lead. He led, falling back as far as 3rd. Now wants the lead back, getting into the closing laps, 2 remaining. Mike Bacalon in the 48, also coming on strong toward the end. He's moving into the top 5. flag, 1 to go. Let's see if Rimmel has any tricks up his sleeve in the 22. Ron Conley to 75, leads the way. Rimmel looks to the outside, down the back straightaway. Coming through turn 3 and 4, Rimmel goes in hard on the top. The drag race is on. Rimmel up high, maybe too high. It'll be the 75 of Ron Conway taking the Pepsi Pure Stock main event. Robin Rimmel second, Dave Burnell third, Scott Kokenauer fourth, and Mike Bacalon in the 48 completing the top 5. Well, that's a good way to end.
Making a habit of this.
I was complaining about had a trophy made up for you for hitting on the wall, and that night we called you Reckless Ron Conway. I think pretty soon we're going to start calling you Wrestling Ron Conway. 2 wins. How's it feel, buddy?
Same as the others. I mean,
you promised you were going to talk a little bit. Restart.
yeah, Ron always goes a little high, so I figured I'd get him. I was holding pretty good down low, and I figured I'd get him. But he let me know he's back there.
Yeah, he's really coming on strong on that last lap. I didn't know if you could hold him off or not. That Ford ran pretty strong there. Also, Dave Burnell was back there with you. When you're out front like that, Dave's been a veteran in this division for a while. Does he try to play games with you a little bit, maybe try to get you loose?
I don't pay attention to him. I turn around and look, see who's back here, see who hit me, that's all.
Okay, Ron, let's talk about your sponsors and your pit crew, buddy.
Okay, I got to thank my daughter, Danny, and my wife, Connie, Meg Sprinting, North Star Equipment, I'm sorry, Bill Waddy, Brett Chesler, Mitch Hartman, Chris Schrock, Kevin Sander, and thanks for the fans, and I wish so many of them wouldn't have left.
Okay.